Welcome to the MindShift Movement Podcast, hosted by Alan Johnson. On this podcast, Alan will be sharing with you empowering, effective, and actionable knowledge within the fitness and mindset space to help you, the listener, become the very best version of you physically, mentally, and emotionally. Now, get ready to dive into today's episode.
Hey everyone, welcome to today's podcast. This episode is based around good versus bad dieting and what kind of labels that you're putting on your foods that you're eating on a daily basis. So, working with clients, a lot of them that come to me have these associations and put these labels on the foods that they're eating, such as bad or naughty, and especially one client in particular. And what this is doing for them is causing, a lot of feelings of guilt every time they eat that kind of food, and even sometimes some anxiety around foods as well. So what kind of labels are you putting on your foods within your diet at the moment? Okay, so at one of my Creating Change workshops, what we do is write down a list of what foods that we perceive as good foods and what foods that we perceive as bad foods. And obviously, if you're on the road or you're busy right now listening to this show, then when you do have a minute, that's exactly what I'd like you to do. Okay, so just write down a big list of any foods that you're associating, whether you're eating them at the moment or whether you're not. Just writing down a list of any foods that you perceive as good. So some examples might be lean cuts of meat, fish, avocados, salad, vegetables, nuts, could be anything. Okay, so anything that you perceive as a good food, and I want you to do exactly the same for the bad foods. Okay, so it could be processed foods, could be chocolate, could be ice cream, crisps, whatever it is. Just write down a list, because this is really, really good, because then you can kind of get down on paper the foods that you are perceiving as good foods and foods that you are perceiving as bad foods. Okay, so once you've done that, the next step is associating what feelings do you have maybe during or after you've eaten the good foods, and the same thing for the bad foods. How are you feeling during and after you've eaten them? Okay, and again, it's very, very good to actually see written down on paper what feelings you're actually having after eating certain foods. Because if the certain food is making you feel a negative emotion, maybe it's time to have a little bit less of that. And if you've got a food that's making you feel more positive, more energy, more uplifted, then maybe it would be good to plan in some more of those foods into your diet as well. Okay, so after you've made those lists, just asking yourself, what changes would you like to actually make in your diet? Because some of you listening to this, maybe you're really, really happy with your diet, whether that is a very healthy diet or whether it's a not so good diet, but you might actually feel happy with what you're doing. Some people just don't want to change, and I've experienced that many of times where clients start with me, but deep down, they're just not ready to make any changes. They don't really want to improve. So we're kind of like wasting each other's time. So just asking yourself that question, if you would actually like to change. And if you do, then it's time to create a plan. So looking at your lists, what better foods would you like to add into your diet? And which of the not so good foods would you like to take out? Okay, so once you've formulated that kind of plan, then you need to be writing up a brand new shopping list. Okay, so just literally listing down everything that you need to do on your next shop. So one of the top tips, okay, is don't go food shopping hungry. Okay, because everything looks good, right? So you have to go to the supermarket, making sure that you've eaten well, And a good example of this, right, is my nan, bless her. And she always falls into this trap, okay? Literally every month, without fail, she must say to me that she's going to go on a diet and she's going to start eating better and everything like that. And then every time I go to hers, there's always the biscuits, the cakes, the sweets, everything. And I know deep down it's because she's still in that process of going to the supermarket before she's eaten rather than after. Okay, because if you go into the supermarket and you're hungry, and like I say, everything's going to look attractive and you feel the need to buy those foods because you're hungry and your body's kind of like screaming out for food. Okay, so once you've got your plan of the new foods that you're going to be eating, you've got your shopping list, you've been shopping and you've got it all in, then you need to start executing on your new plan. And what I do say to my clients as well, when I work with them on helping them improve their own diet, it's really, really important to still keep in some of your favourite foods and maybe some weekly treats. So for me personally, it's usually Saturday nights for me. I absolutely love Ben & Jerry's ice cream. It's amazing. Okay, so that's one of my favourite foods that I'm very likely never going to want to give up. And I always kind of stick to the 80-20 rule, where at least 80% of your time is, healthy foods that you perceive as healthy. And then 20% of that time, maybe some more of your favourite foods and some treats added into your diet as well, to keep it, a fun lifestyle to follow. Okay, maybe if you're an athlete that you're training for a particular race or whatever, then maybe you've got to really get focused on what you're eating in preparation for the event. Okay, but if you're an everyday, person that's just training to feel better and, be a better version of you, have more energy, feel more positive, feel happier, then for me, it's very important to make sure that you're adding in those weekly favourite foods and treats. Okay, so also with the good versus bad foods, it kind of depends on amounts as well. Okay, because you can have two different people, okay, that could eat very similar foods on a weekly basis, but in different portion sizes, and then that will make them look and feel completely different to the other person. Okay, so you can have someone that does eat 80% of a healthier diet, okay, more of the fruits, the vegetables, the lean cuts of meat, the fishes, and then just 20% of their diet is the more favourite foods and the treats, okay? And then you've got someone else that flips that around, and 80% of their diet is processed foods, it is takeaways, it's chocolate, it's crisps, and whatever else, okay? But 20% of their diet is the healthier foods, okay? They're going to look and feel completely different, okay? So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I hope it inspires you to improve on what you're currently doing. Okay, feel free to reach out to me via my email, ajfitmindcoaching@gmail.com. If you want any further help with your diet, I'm more than happy to try and give you a bit of assistance. And that's it for today. I'll catch up with you guys on the next episode.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the MindShift Movement Podcast. If you'd like to support the show, please subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, or Google Play. Share this episode with someone you feel would benefit from the content. And please leave a 5-star review wherever you download your podcasts. You can also contact Alan at ajfitmindcoaching@gmail.com or on Facebook at AJ Fitness and Mindset Coaching and on Instagram at Alan_Johnson_coaching. We'll catch you on the next episode.